All right. Shri Krishna Caitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Jayādvaita Gadadhar Shivasadi Gaura Bhakta Binda Jai Shri Krishna Caitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Jayādvaita Gadadhar Shivasadi Gaur Bhakta Binda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Rama Hare 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 Krishna Krishna Hare 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 Rama Krishna Krishna Hare 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 Rama Rama Hare 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 Krishna Krishna Hare 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 Rama Hare Krishna Krishna Hare 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 Rama Rama Hare 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 Krishna Krishna Hare 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 Rama Rama Hare 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 Krishna Krishna Hare 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 Rama Rama Hare 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 Krishna Krishna Hare 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 Rama Rama Hare 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 Krishna Krishna Hare 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 Rama Rama Hare 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 Krishna Krishna Hare 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 Rama Rama Hare 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 Krishna Krishna Hare 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 Rama Rama Hare 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 Krishna Krishna Hare 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 Rama Rama Hare 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 Krishna Krishna Hare 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 Rama Rama Hare 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 Krishna Krishna Hare 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 Rama
AC Bhakti Vedanta Swami Maharaj Prabhupada ki jai. Anand Kopi Voice ki jai. Namacharya Sri Haridas Thakur ki jai. Prem se Kaho Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Sri Advaita Gadadhar Srivas Adi Gaur Bhaktivinoda ki jai. Sri Sri Radha Krishna Gopinath, Sham Gun Radha Kinki Gurudhan Ki Jai, Vrindavan Dham Ki Jai, Jambu Vaipur Dham Ki Jai, Ganga Vaini Ki Jai, Ramana Vaini Ki Jai, Lucy Devi Ki Jai, Bhakti Devi Ki Jai, Samaveta Bhakti Vrinda Ki Jai. All glories to you, Son of the devotees. All glories to you, Son of the devotees. All glories to you, Son of the devotees. Welcome to all. We're on September 8th, 2022 in New York, and September 9th here in Robin. And we're reading from Caitanya Caritamrita, Lila, chapter 3, text 82. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Upapurane Harshuni Sri Krishna Pacham Upapuri Vyaspati Pariyakshen Katman. In the Upapuranas, we hear Sri Krishna showing his mercy to Vyasdev by speaking to him as follows. Brahmeva Kuchid Brahman Sanyasasramamasrataha Hari Bhaktim Grahayami Grahayami Kalo Bhavatam. O learned Brahmin, sometimes I accept the renounced order of life to induce the fallen people of the age of Kali to accept devotional service to the Lord. Bhagavata Bharata Sastra Bhagavan Puran Caitanya Krishna Avatare Prakata Brahmana. Srimad Bhagavatam, the Mahabharata, the Puranas, and other Vedic literatures all give evidence to prove that Lord Sri Krishna Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is the incarnation of Krishna. Vajakshe Tekaha Nana Prakat Prabhav Alokika Parama Alokika Prabhav. One can also directly see Lord Chaitanya's manifest influence in his uncommon deeds and uncommon Krishna conscious realization. Tekiyana deke yata abhaktiravan uyute nadeke vina suryer chiramira. But faithless unbelievers do not see what is clearly evident, just as owls do not see the rays of the sun. From Shila Rupa Charitai Parama Prakrishtai Satvena Satvaya Pabalais Shastrais Madhyatpadaiva Paramartha Vedam Nataischa Naivasura Vipritaya Prabhavanti Bhotam. O my Lord, those influenced by demoniac principles cannot realize you, although you are clearly supreme by dint of your exalted activities, forms, character, and uncommon power, which are all confirmed by all who reveal the scriptures in the quality of goodness and the celebrated transcendentness in the divine nature. Purport. This is a verse from the Stotra Ratna of Yamunacharya, the spiritual master of Ramanujacharya. The authentic scriptures describe the transcendental activities, features, form, and qualities of Krishna. And Krishna explains himself in the Bhagavad Gita, the most authentic scripture in the world. He is further explained in Srimad Bhagavatam, which is considered the explanation of the Vedanta Sutra. Lord Krishna is accepted as the Supreme Personality of Godhead by these authentic scriptures, not simply by Vox Populi. In the modern age, a certain class of Jews think that they can vote anyone into the position of God as they can vote a man into the position of a political executive head. But the transcendental Supreme Personality of Godhead is perfectly described in the authentic scriptures. In the Bhagavad Gita, the Lord says that only fools deride him, thinking that anyone can speak like this. Even according to historical references, Krishna's activities are most uncommon. Krishna has affirmed, I am God, and he has acted accordingly. Mayavadis think that everyone can claim to be God. That is their illusion. For no one else can perform such extraordinary activities as Krishna. When he was a child on the lap of his mother, he killed the demon Putana. Then he killed the demons Jayādvaita, Dasasura, and Bhakta. When he was a little more grown up, he killed the demons Advasura and Rishabhasura. Therefore, God is God from the very beginning. The idea that someone can become God by meditation is ridiculous. By hard endeavor, one may realize his godly nature, but he will never become God. The asuras or demons who think that anyone can become God are condemned. The authentic scriptures are compiled by personalities like Vyasadeva, Narada, Asita, and Parashara, who are not ordinary men. All the followers of the Vedic way of life have accepted these famous personalities, whose authentic scriptures conform to the Vedic literature. Nevertheless, the demoniac do not believe their statements, and they purposely oppose the Supreme Personality of Godhead and his devotees. Today, it is fashionable for common men to write whimsical words as so-called incarnations of God and to be accepted as authentic by other common men. This demoniac mentality is condemned in the 7th chapter of the Bhagavad Gita, wherein it is said that those who are miscreants and the lowest of mankind, who are fools and asses, cannot accept the Supreme Personality of Godhead because of their demoniac nature. They are compared to ulukas, or owls, who cannot open their eyes in the sunlight. Because they cannot bear the sunlight, they hide themselves from it and never see it. They cannot believe that there is such illumination. Om Atana Tirinam Tasya Jananjana Shaladayan Sri Caitanya, follow his coming. Start and change the when you took a long way down. Rati took a long Monday, Sri Guru, Sri Guru, Sri Guru, lights and something. Sri Guru, all the time. Over now, the sun, Sadhaitam, traditional Sahitam, Krishna Chaitanya, Jayādvaita, Krishna Bhagavan, Subhadra, Yata, Sri Satam, He Krishna, Hare Sundari, Neevan Roti, Pate, No face of Gopika, not Tata Kamisana Gaurangi, Radhe Vrindavaneshwari, Prasad Bhakti, Vansha, Poti, Yasya, Vivas Sindhu, Praise the Time. The Gita, the radio, voice, the radio. Sri Krishna Chaitanya, Prabhu Nityananda, Sri Advaita Gadadhar, Srivas Hari Gaur, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Ram, Krishna Hare Hare Ram, Ram. While seeing the glorious activities of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, and while hearing from authorities about the Lord, he tears because of impiety and stubborn obstinacy, refused to accept Krishna as the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Well, I don't have a lot more to say right there. Ulangita, no. Apana Bhukaite Krishna, Nana Yatna Kore, Tatapi Tahar Bhakta, Saniye Tahare. Lord Shri Krishna tries to hide himself in various ways, but nevertheless, his pure devotees know him as he is. Ulangita Trivida Sima Samadhishayi Sambhavanam Tava Panib Zativa Sabhavam Mayabalena Bhavatapi Nipujamanam Pashanti Kechidanishan Varananya Bhava. Oh my Lord, everything within material nature is limited by time, space, and thought. Your characteristics, however, being unequaled and unsurpassed, are always transcendental such limitations. You sometimes cover such characteristics by your own energy, but nevertheless, your unalloyed devotees are always able to see you under all circumstances. Purport. This verse is also quoted from the Stotra Ratna of Yamunacharya. Everything covered by the influence of Maya is within the limited boundaries of space, time, and thought. Even the greatest manifestation we can conceive, the sky, also has limitations. From the authentic scriptures, however, it is evident that beyond the sky is a covering of 7 layers, each 10 times thicker than the one preceding it. Covering layers are vast, but with or without coverings, space is limited. Our power to think about space and time is also limited. Time is eternal. We may imagine billions and trillions of years, but that will still be an inadequate estimate of the extent of time. Our imperfect senses, therefore, cannot think of the greatness of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, nor can we bring him within the limitations of time or our thinking power. His position is accordingly described by the word Jayādvaita. He is transcendental to space, time, and thought. Although he appears within them, he exists transcendentally. Even when the Lord's transcendental existence is disguised by space, time, and thought, however, pure devotees of the Supreme Lord can see him in his personal features beyond space, time, and thought. In other words, even though the Lord is not visible to the eyes of ordinary men, those who are beyond the covering layers because of their transcendental devotional service can still see him. The Trinidad, space, time, and thought. Should we put more light? Should we put some? But the mind has its limitations. Space and time have limitations, but we can't even imagine the limits of space and time. And still we think that our thinking power has no boundaries. It's just a question of exploring more and more what our minds can discover. But the conclusion is that our minds are limited. Our thinking power is limited. And Achincha Kalu gave Baba, arcane or by speculative power, one can't understand the inconceivable personality of God. But it's interesting that the devotees can see the Lord, they can detect that here's Krishna. And the non-devotees, even when presented with Krishna's transcendental power, still deny its transcendental nature. There's a quotation in Nectar's Devotion someplace where Kamsa is saying that, all right, Krishna's killed some demons and he's punished a water snake, but come on, what's that? Minimizing.
I think
And it's coming in. All right. And one sound less. And it's quiet. At least a little more quiet. But by pleasing Krishna, the devotees are able to see the Lord, and the stubborn materialists, because of their aversion to Krishna, receive reciprocation from the Lord in the form of being covered so that they can never understand him. The sun may appear covered by a cloud, but actually it is the eyes of the tiny people below the cloud that are covered, not the sun. If those tiny people rose above the cloud in an airplane, they could then see the sunshine and the sun without impediment. Similarly, although the covering of Maya is very strong, Lord Krishna says in the Bhagavad Gita, Daiviyesha Gunamayi Mama Maya Durachaya Mamevaye Prapadyante Mayametam Torantite. This divine energy of mine, consisting of the three modes of material nature, is difficult to overcome. But those who have surrendered unto me can easily cross beyond it. To surpass the influence of the illusory energy is very difficult. But those who are determined to catch hold of the lotus feet of the Lord are freed from the clutches of Maya. Therefore, pure devotees can understand the Supreme Personality of Godhead. But demons, because of their miscreant behavior, cannot understand the Lord, in spite of seeing the many revealed scriptures and the uncommon activities of the Lord. Asura Swabhave Krishna Prabhu Nahi Chane Dukaite Nare Krishna Bhakta Jana Sthane. Those whose nature is demoniac cannot know Krishna at any time, but he cannot hide himself from his pure devotees. Purport. People who develop the nature of asuras, like Ravana and Hiranyakashipu, can never know Krishna, the personality of Godhead, by challenging the authority of Godhead. But Sri Krishna cannot hide himself from his pure devotees. Prabhuta sargo lokesmin daiva asura evacha Vishnu Bhakta Smrito Daiva Asuraspad Viparyaha. There are two classes of men in the created world. One consists of the demoniac and the other of the godly. The devotees of Lord Vishnu are the godly, whereas those who are just the opposite are called demons. Purport. This is a verse from the Padma Purana. Vishnu Bhaktas, or devotees in Krishna consciousness, are known as devas, demigods. Atheists who do not believe in God or who declare themselves God are asuras, demons. Asuras always engage in atheistic material activities, exploring ways to utilize the resources of matter to enjoy sense gratification. This is a wonderful phrase exploring the ways to utilize the resources of matter to enjoy sense gratification. This is the modern scientific enterprise. This is the modern setup of national and political activities. This is the whole program of materialistic civilization. Exploring. There's the Emirates Airlines, which has been using as a slogan, discover. Travel around to different destinations and discover. See what you can discover next. Discover this, discover that. Discover sense gratification. And science is exploring. They're exploring space. They're exploring the inner world of the atom. They're exploring in biology. They're exploring in quantum physics. They're exploring here. They're exploring there. And of course, this all this exploration is sponsored by economic interests and with a view toward monetizing whatever it is that we discover. So we're exploring ways to utilize the resources of matter. It's not, we're not just exploring for the sake of exploring. Maybe there is some small community of pure scientists who are simply curious and exploring, but they wouldn't get any grants unless their explorations yielded practical opportunities for implementing something, for exploiting the resources of matter, and why to enjoy sense gratification. The whole project, exploring ways to utilize the resources of matter to enjoy sense gratification. The Vishnu Bhaktas, Krishna conscious devotees, are also active, but their objective is to satisfy the Supreme Personality of Godhead by devotional service. Superficially, both classes may appear to work in the same way, but their purposes are completely opposite because of a difference in consciousness. Asuras work for personal sense gratification, whereas devotees work for the satisfaction of the Supreme Lord. Both work conscientiously, but their motives are different. The Krishna consciousness movement is meant for devas, or devotees. Demons cannot take part in Krishna conscious activities, nor can devotees in Krishna consciousness take part in demonic activities or work like cats and dogs simply for sense gratification. Such activity does not appeal to those in Krishna consciousness. Devotees accept only the bare necessities of life to keep themselves fit to act in Krishna consciousness. The balance of their energy is used for developing Krishna consciousness, through which one can be transferred to the abode of Krishna by always thinking of him, even at the point of death. Any comments or questions so far? Vijay Krishna has something. Oh, there it is. Why is it that the Lord in order to induce the fallen people of the age of Kali to accept devotional service, accepts the renounced order of life. Renounced people in general are no better than beggars, door to door. Who is going to give credit to such destitute individuals? Maybe it would be better if the Lord could accept the mercantile order of life in order to convince the Kali Yuga people to adopt devotional service. Isn't it that in Kali Yuga, characteristically, everyone is after money and sense gratification? Aren't the Vaishyas the most wealthy class of people? Who's going to surrender to individuals who cannot offer immediate pleasure? The godly persons will surrender to persons who are not offering immediate pleasure. The demonic are after similar demons. What is Svavid Varohos Prakarai, some street they consider the great economic leaders to be the real men, the real leaders of the world, just because they're making money. But those who are more intelligent and those who are spiritually serious are not interested in that. That's not their standard of success. Oh, we've gotten so much money. We see that Jesus Christ has influenced the whole world, and he was not economically prosperous. Saint Francis of Assisi was a mendicant, and he had so much influence. In the modern day, Mother Teresa, the accepted of vow of poverty, has been influential. And Srila Prabhupada, not to mention everyone else, but if you say I have no money, I can't bribe these young people. But he was so influential by his message and by renunciation. Renunciation is attractive. Even the big wealthy men of the world know that wealth is not satisfying. We may not know. We may think, oh, Bill Gates, if I could have money like Bill Gates. But Bill Gates must be familiar with the emptiness of being Bill Gates, at least to some extent. These people are not satisfied. They're not satisfied. So therefore Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, although he was a beggar, attracted Rupa Goswami, Sanatana Goswami, Raghunath Das Goswami. These were multi-millionaires. Srila Prabhupada attracted big industrialists, and still big men are attracted to the Krishna consciousness movement because we're offering what they don't have. Tulsi Priya.
Hi, Krishna Maharaj. This is my obeisance. I was just thinking too that even within the realm of sense gratification in the material world, nobody appreciates so much somebody who's just partying and enjoying immediate sense gratification. Like we admire people who've worked and struggled and, performed some kind of austerities to get their opulence. And so, spiritual life is outside of that realm, but at least there's the sort of hint at it that you're not just immediately gratifying your senses, you're trying to go for something higher than immediate sense gratification and achieve something more than just satisfying your animal needs. So
even when spiritual people are connected with money, then the world becomes suspicious.
mm,
The world becomes suspicious, and not without reason. Saraswati says, years ago, I was watching a program where there was a race of people with powers to compel anyone to do their bidding, including making someone love them. But they realized that that love felt hollow because it was forced. It made me think that Krishna never compels anyone like this, but desires that we willingly understand and love him to our maximum capacity. Yes, that's true. It's true. This freedom is there to turn toward Krishna or away from it.
The devotees don't work like cats and dogs,
The devotees don't work like cats and dogs.
but they want to learn something. I see devotees that work very
So
hard.
you see devotees working very hard to earn their livelihood. Well, what can we say? It's recommended that devotees not work so hard to maintain their livelihood.
They chant the 16 rounds, and
They chant their 16 rounds, and the rest of the time is keeping the bread on the table and the rent paid. Well, for that reason, of course, everything is finally up to the will of Krishna. But with that in mind, I've recommended the seminars of Ananda Vrindavan Prabhu and Vamsi Pari Gopal Prabhu regarding financial management. Because a lot of the struggle that people, including devotees, go through to make ends meet exists unnecessarily because they're not disciplined in financial affairs or not knowledgeable about how to manage money. So that actually they have enough money, but they don't know that they have enough money, or they don't know what to do with that money so that they get full value from it.
I'm just thinking of an example. The one devotee, he was in a joint family. He's still living in a joint family, but the family is not very cooperative for execution of consciousness. So he and his wife, they are thinking of moving to other flat. They got a home loan, and the home loan is they have less income, and now they have to work hard so that they can have cooperative Krishna consciousness.
So Praveen's thinking of one couple, they're living in a joint family, but the rest of the family is not congenial to Krishna consciousness, they're averse. And so the couple has moved out and they bought a flat and a home loan, and now they're struggling for the sake of Krishna consciousness. Well, I don't want to pose as a financial advisor, but my recollection from Siddhari's seminars, don't go out and buy a flat first thing. because for exactly that reason, then you'll be under the pressure of a home loan and paying interest and struggling. So better to pay rent and live modestly. And then when you have money, then you buy a flat. I was hearing from devotees in Panama. There are many Gujarati people who've moved to Panama and are in the business of loans, actually. And because the local people, they want something immediately, a refrigerator, a this or that, they don't have the money. So they take a loan, even at high interest. We will talk about the ethics of the whole thing, but they'll even pay ridiculously high interest so that they can buy something now. So that's and so they're always, working hard to pay the interest on the loans and so on. Meanwhile, the Gujarati people who moved to Panama to take part in this business are living in the poorest part of town, in absolute, negligible quarters, spending like penny pinchers. And then, after quite some years, when they're like floating in cash, then they buy a big opulent place somewhere. But till they have money, they don't spend it. So Prabhupada said the devotee invents some simple means of livelihood, and Krishna helps him. It's also, we think we have to live in the city. We have to live in Baroda or in Delhi or what have you, and pay through the nose, as it were, for just a place to live and food to eat and so on. But if one is willing to be radical about it, one can live just if you move a little outside the city, everything becomes less expensive. You get for what you'd be paying for a little apartment in a building somewhere. You get your own home with land around it and trees and streams and all of that. So willingness to break free, so as they say, reimagine one's life, not just say, okay, I'm going to continue doing exactly what I'm doing, but in my own home instead of in the family home. It's not much difference in terms of expense. But if you're radical and say, we're going to move to the country, or we're going to do something very different, then everything changes. Or even those householders who were very radical and said, why do we need to do any of this? We're just going to travel and preach and distribute books. So again, I'm not the world's financial advisor, and everyone's circumstance is different. But so often our struggles are self-imposed and unnecessary.
Well, another devotee was telling me that I told him the same thing, that why don't you rent and stay in rent? He was telling me that if I was alone, I could stay anywhere. But I had family, I had children.
Praveen was saying the same thing to someone, why buy a home, why don't pay rent? And I said, well, Lodi said if I were alone, I would, but I have family.
And for the security.
Tomorrow,
who knows what happens?
So for the sake of who knows what happens tomorrow, today I'm suffering like a dog. And who knows what may happen tomorrow? I may be working for this security and the security falls apart. There's no guarantee that you'll have security just because you're working. But rather, and in fact, that's the seminar. Vamsidhari's seminar is, sure, you want security, but you're going about it the wrong way. By, fronting high expenditure and paying high interest for it, you're killing your security. If you were smarter, you'd right now save your money, buy when you have funds, and even then be conservative about it, and you'd have money in the bank for security. This way, you're just always struggling. You have no funds. You're always paying for the flat. You could lose the flat because you lose your job, and then your security goes out the window. So, again, we're not. And of course, the ultimate advice from the sidelines is, why get married? That's the ultimate security. Remain brahmachari, and your future is always affordable. Why complicate your life? Why complicate your life? But as we were reading a few verses ago, people see, but they don't see. While seeing, they don't see. They see everywhere, everyone working hard just to support a family for not that much happiness. And they think, let me do this too. Let me do this too. So the sort of, what should we say? Yes. Now, Saraswati says, sometimes what happens is you rent to save money to own a home, but by the time you save something, house prices have gone up, so you always fall short, and it becomes a pipe dream. Well, I don't think I'm qualified or inclined to give Vamsidhari Gopal's seminar even in small portion today. There are arguments against what you're saying. There are prudent ways to do things in such a way that you're best situated. It's always, of course, I have to buy this today because the prices may go up. It's on sale only for a week. I have to get this by Friday, otherwise I may lose my opportunity. Prices are going up. Buy now. And then you're locked in. So again, if you'd like to further insight into these matters, forget me. Go look on YouTube for Anand Vrindavan's financial planning seminar or Vamsidhari Gopal's financial planning seminar. Those who are Hindi dwellers, Anand Vrindavan's is very nice. If you don't know Hindi, then Vamsidhari Gopal. Also, Anand Vrindavan's is a little more India oriented because he's living in Bombay, and Vamsidhari is a little more toward the American side because he's living in America. But they're both worth recommending. And in fact, the link is there posted by Priya. And we've come from the transcendental identity of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu as the Supreme Personality of Godhead to financial planning for grihastas and how to avoid working like cats and dogs. So we're a little bit not off topic as well, but did race the driver. But in any case, now it's time for the holy name of Krishna, Krishna Kirtan. And do we have a volunteer for the evening?
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Rama Hare Rama, Rama Rama Hare Hare, Hare Krishna Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Rama Hare Rama, Rama Rama Hare Hare.
God owns the Paramount Paripad, charge us those with the creation of AC Bhakti Vedanta Swami Raj Prabhupada Ki Jai, Anand Koti Vaishnava Ki Jai, Nama Charger Srila Haridas Thakur Ki Jai, James Kaho Shri Krishna Chaitanya, Prabhu Nityananda, Sri Advaita Vedanta, Shiva Sadikaur Bhakta Ki Jai, Sri Sri Radha Krishna Govindanath, Sham Kun Radha Kunti Govindanath Ki Jai, Vrindavan Dham Ki Jai, Navadip Dham Ki Jai, Jagannath Puri Ki Jai, Kangamai Ki Jai, Jangamai Ki Jai, Devi Devi Ki Jai, Bhakti Devi Ki Jai, Samaveta Bhakta Vrinda Ki Jai, all glories to you, some of the devotees. All glories to you, some of the devotees. All glories to you, some of the devotees. Lord Karanande. Again, thank you to all for kindly taking part in today's program. And tomorrow we have again Srimad Bhagavatam. Hare Krishna.
Thank you, Gurudev.
Thank you, Gurudev.
Beautiful kirtan.
Hare Krishna.
Pratals and handcraft. Hare Krishna. Yoga.
Hare Maharaj, thank you.
Hare Krishna Gurudeva,
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna Bhaju. And Hare Krishna to all. Lord Pradanande.